Hey everybody, this is Shaman Sister Sin. You're listening to Meditations and More podcast. Today I wanted to talk to you about empaths, specifically how empaths can protect themselves from anxiety and depression, because being an empath in today's world is very difficult. The world these days is very cruel, cold, and brutal. However, it's not all bad. It can also be really beautiful and amazing. So the key is to never lose sight of the good when we feel overwhelmed by the bad. Not everybody is an empath, of course, but we can all use a little bit of protection from the emotional battering of the world in its current incarnation. So even if you're not an empath, you could still benefit from what I'm going to say. If you're not sure if you're an empath, I'll go into a little bit of an explanation. Being an empath or empathic is another term for being clairsentient. The word clairsentient means that you are specially tuned to and can even feel other people's emotions. You know, like clairvoyant means you can psychically see, sort of like being psychic emotionally. If you are an empath, you've probably had some experience with that and you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe someone was in a bad mood around you and it just like brings you down. It ruins your entire day, even if the people are being nice, or maybe you feel really drained after going to areas where there are lots of people. That's something that I hear a lot, even if you're only there for a little while. Maybe you have people telling you their entire life story when you just met them, or they tell you have really good insight, even though they might not even know, but they feel like you do. Just different things like that. So look into that a little bit more if you're concerned that you might be an empath. And I'll give you a few things you can do here to protect yourself from anxiety and depression, because dealing with other people's emotions all the time can cause anxiety, depression, gastrointestinal problems. It can just cause a lot of different things. So when you're an empath, you have to learn how to ground and protect yourself. That's very, very important. Even if you're not an empath, you should still learn how to do that, because it's always better for you. It gives you a way to sort of lever the stress away from you. So the first thing you want to do is pay attention to what your body is telling you. Most modern medicine is about silencing the body. We always hear how you have to push through the pain and keep on even when we're exhausted and all these things. We take supplements or ingest chemicals like caffeine that are designed to silence or mask and alter what the body is trying to tell us. Now, this might seem necessary to you sometimes, but it is almost always a mistake. Silencing the body is a bad idea because the body is trying to tell you that something's wrong. Aches, pains, irritability, chronic illness, feeling tired. These are all warning signs that your body and your mind have had enough, and you shouldn't ignore them. Take time when you need to and learn to say no. Now, this is often the empath's biggest obstacle. It's very difficult to turn people away when we know we can help them, but the truth is, you're no good to anyone if you're not well. You can't take care of anybody without first taking care of yourself. So pay attention to what your body is telling you. Another thing you can do is avoid too many chemicals and sugars. A lot of times when you're an empath, and even if you're not, you're dealing with a lot of overstimulation. That is where you get ailments like anxiety and irritable bowel disorder and, chronic nervousness, panic attacks, OCD. Those things are essentially caused by overstimulation. Chemicals like caffeine, food additives, artificial colors, and sugars make overstimulation much worse. This leads to chronic anxiety, not being able to sleep, a bunch of other problems. If you cut out the caffeine and the sugar as much as possible, you will notice a reduction in your anxiety and your irritability overall, and you can probably sleep a little better too. Another one that is really important is to get enough sleep. Now, this seems like a no-brainer or like advice that might fall under the category of anti-advice, because it's something that a lot of people don't take very seriously. But how many of us actually get enough sleep? Not getting enough sleep is often treated as no big deal, but studies have proven if you have been awake for 17 hours, it's been proven to have the same effect on you as a 0.05 blood alcohol level. That's almost legally drunk. This dulls reaction times. It affects accuracy with tasks. It makes us irritable. It causes things to bother us more than they should. Empaths need to have all pistons firing correctly if we want to be able to deal with what the world is throwing at us. So you have to be sure to get enough sleep. Now, how do you know you've gotten enough sleep? Your body will let you know. When you've gotten enough sleep, you will not be tired. Another thing you can do, and I know you hear me say this all the time, but meditate. I probably say it too much, but the benefits of meditation cannot really be overstated. Studies have proven that meditation works as well or better than psychiatric drugs for combating anxiety, depression, and other problems. It can be difficult to do at first. That's probably one of the number one questions that people ask me is how do I meditate? And I have addressed this at length in other episodes of the show. And especially with our limited attention spans nowadays, I understand, but it's worth it to keep trying because even if you don't feel like anything is, quote, happening while you meditate, your body and your brain are benefiting from the relaxation. So keep up with it because over time you will notice a change. And instead of feeling harassed and hurried and anxious while you're sitting there, you're going to be able to be calm. But it does take a little while, so keep trying. There are a lot of episodes on my channel that deal with meditation and how to meditate and have a lot of music specifically designed for that, as well as guided meditation, so check those out. Another really simple thing you can do, because while most of the symptoms that present from being an empath are physical, there are mental ones. You can go into a depression. You can start to feel that things are hopeless. This is because you're receiving too many negative emotions. So another really, really simple thing you can do is to remember to be grateful. Now that sounds, again, like anti-advice or non-advice. But this one really isn't as easy as you might suppose. I mean, think about it. In the course of one day, how often do you just feel simple gratitude? How often are you grateful for what you have or just grateful to be alive? It can be very difficult to remember good things when we are under a constant barrage of negativity from all sides. I mean, it's everywhere. And we can very easily be pulled down into despair over it if we don't remind ourselves that there's good out there too. Some easy ways to remember to be grateful would be to look for stories of people helping each other. You can write down 5 things you're grateful for every day and say them out loud. You can help other people who are less fortunate than you because, gratitude is contagious. You can remember times when you yourself were less fortunate and how things are better now. There's so many things to be grateful for in this life, even just to be sitting here breathing and be able to talk. So don't forget any of them. It's very important that you remember them. That can help lift your mood and keep you from falling into despair, which is very easy to do. Another really simple thing is to let yourself be amazed. Now, as an adult, we all have a healthy level of cynicism and skepticism, but we should try not to fall into the trap of taking things for granted in this life. If you really think about the things around you, so many of them are really just truly amazing. Everything from the compact disc to the human hand has its own little specific special wonders. Have you ever really looked at your hand? How complex and amazing it is? How often do you think about that kind of stuff? Those kind of things help keep us humble. They stop us from being too cynical and taking things for granted. One of the really great things you can do is to get back to nature. I'm going to do at least one episode about this particular thing right here, but I'm just going to gloss over it right now. One of the biggest reasons people are so stressed nowadays is that we are living lives that we are just not made for. Human beings were not created to just work, sleep, and die, and that is all so many people ever do. They have no time for anything else. They are exhausted. They're chronically ill. They're unhappy. We are wonderfully, beautifully, amazingly complex emotional creatures capable of a huge entire spectrum of behavior and emotion. Okay? We live very unnatural lives compared to our ancestors or even, 50 or 60 years ago. So taking time to reconnect with that is very, very beneficial for the mind and the body and the spirit. Put the phone down, turn off the TV, go for a walk, go camping, go barefoot. You may have heard of earthing. which is walking barefoot on the earth in order to ground and balance your body. There is an entire science behind this, and it feels wonderful regardless. There is nothing better than walking on hard, warm earth in your bare feet. I love it. Or even squishing your toes in a mud puddle. I love doing that too. I hate shoes. Shoes should not be allowed. I don't wear them anywhere I don't have to. Earthing is also called grounding in reference to our body's electrical system, and grounding is very important for empaths to do. It's very important for everybody to do, but it's especially important for empaths. You want to get some fresh air and really give yourself time to be alive for a while. You will be amazed what a difference that makes. Did you ever notice how you feel when you come home from camping? It's like the same thing, but you can have that every day. Another thing you can do to protect yourself is to visualize protection for yourself. If you find yourself in a situation that is overwhelming you, such as a place where there's a lot of other people, or when dealing with an emotional vampire like a narcissist, the best protection is in your mind. Empaths and sensitive souls receive other people's emotional vibrations like an antenna. This can make being around large groups of people difficult and exhausting, or even scary and frightening. The best way to beat it is to block the reception of this energy. Before entering the situation, you need to close your eyes and visualize the energy being blocked from you. You can visualize an impenetrable shield or a bubble around you that this energy cannot get through. You can visualize an antenna retracting back into your mind so that it's no longer capable of receiving people's emotional output. You can visualize a door closing and blocking access to your mind, a cord being unplugged, a ribbon being cut. Whatever visualization appeals to you, you can use and it will work. There's no wrong way to do it. It can take some practice to get it down pat, but the important thing is that the visualization be strong. If you're already in the situation and you feel overwhelmed, you can either go into a quiet area and do it, or simply concentrate really hard right where you are. It doesn't take long, and you should feel some release from the pressure of other people's minds almost immediately. It's very, very important to do that. You have to learn how to protect yourself from that, because people don't realize they're doing that, and it really isn't their fault. So you have to learn how to protect yourself from that, because some people's vibrations and energy are truly toxic, and you do not want to receive that. So practice doing that. You can feel when you've done it correctly in a way that works for you. So don't despair. It's not that hard to do, and you will know whenever it's working. Probably the most important thing for an empath or anyone to do in order to protect themselves is to learn to say no. I know I already said it, but this bears repeating. Learn to say no. Remember, you don't owe anyone anything. Of course, we are tasked with helping others. I mean, that's why we were created as empaths. This does not mean that we are supposed to help other people to our own detriment. Narcissists and other emotional leeches love empaths. They seek us out because we are like psychic batteries to them. We just keep going and going and go. They know that, and they will hang on draining us until there's nothing left if we don't stop them. Helping other people is never supposed to be a burden. Listen to yourself, listen to your body, and learn when enough is enough. It is not easy being an empath these days, but it can be so rewarding if you learn to take care of yourself. By learning to ground yourself and protect yourself, you're making life better for not only yourself, but for those who you are charged with taking care of in this lifetime. Hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online and over the phone Monday through Friday. So if you're interested in speaking with me, you can visit littleshaman.org and click the Book an Appointment tab to go ahead and do that. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.